with coverage you can count on. This is the Erie News NOWCAST.
Good Monday morning. I'm Mark Salday. Thanks for jumping on Facebook Live for a mid-morning check of some of the stories we're following here at Erie News Now. David will have a look at our first warning forecast coming up as well. New York State officials this morning bracing for the potential, anyway, for staffing shortages. New York State's healthcare worker vaccine mandate takes effect today. According to the New York State Department of Health, all healthcare workers in the Empire State, workers at hospitals and nursing homes, they have to have that first COVID-19 vaccine dose by today, or that potential to lose their job is out there. We're talking about home care, hospice, and adult care facilities. That vaccination deadline up in New York State's October 7th. Meantime, a requirement for New York City school teachers and staff to be vaccinated. That one actually got a temporary block from a U.S. appeals court just days before it was set to take effect. There's a hearing on that mandate now set for this coming Wednesday. The head of drug maker Pfizer says COVID-19 vaccine data for kids ages 5 to 11 is going to be ready for an FDA review in a matter of days. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla says if the plan to give shots to these younger kids, if it's approved, Pfizer's prepared to start producing that vaccine immediately. He says kids in those trials received 2 doses of their specifically formulated vaccine. Bourla told ABC's George Stephanopoulos that it has about 1/5 of the dose strength of the dose given out to the general population. Well, doctors here in our area say they are seeing a lot of kids come in recently with symptoms that look like COVID-19, only to find out those kids have a different illness, one called RSV. It's been around for a while. Erie News Now's Elena Jonathan takes a look at the differences.
But for every one positive COVID, I've had about 8 positive RSVs.
Dr. Robert Burns is a pediatrician over at CCP West in Mill Creek. He's been seeing more cases of RSV in his office starting in August, months before the typical season for RSV would start.
But it's made us busier with COVID and this at the same time.
Dr. Burns explains RSV in older kids and adults isn't as serious. The virus just presents itself like a mild cold. But for children under the age of 2, symptoms could sound something like this.
You can develop a pretty high fever, 102, 103, trouble breathing, stop drinking, and those are the 3 big red flags I tell parents to see your doctor about.
For many parents, they're wondering what the difference would be between COVID and RSV. Dr. Burns says, watch out for the breathing.
That's the big difference I've seen is RSV can really cause difficulty breathing in the younger kids.
Jonathan reporting there. A growing number of Pennsylvania school districts now reportedly considering joining the legal fight against Pennsylvania's school mask mandate. That new renewed rule for students and staff at schools across Pennsylvania actually has sparked a couple of lawsuits. Basically, they're about whether acting Pennsylvania Health Secretary Allison Beam, in fact, has the authority to issue that mask in school mandate. Her announcement of the mandate came after several districts had started up the new school year. It also came after Governor Wolf had said that decision on masks would be left up to individual school boards. 3 school districts have already joined a lawsuit filed by Republican State Senator Jake Corman. That list includes the Penncrest District out of Crawford County. Elsewhere this morning, Germany's center-left Social Democrats have narrowly beaten the party of outgoing Chancellor Angela Merkel in Germany's federal election. Yeah, the vote counting had been going on over the weekend. So now that Merkel's party has been defeated, coalition negotiations will now begin, but word is that could take weeks or even months. Sunday's election came at a time of strained relations between Germany and the U.S., and the next German government, political observers say, going to have to work closely with the Biden administration if both sides want to smooth out those tensions. The loved ones gathered Sunday for a memorial service in remembrance of Gabby Petito. The service came as the search efforts for Brian Laundrie, Petito's fiance, continue. Of course, that pair embarked on a cross-country trip in a van back in June. They were visiting national parks, all prior to the 22-year-old's disappearance last month. Laundrie then returned home in the van in which the couple were traveling without her. That was back at the start of September. Petito's remains were eventually found out in Wyoming last week. Well, back here at home, if you're looking for a job, there's a chance to find one at a job fair. It's happening right now. It's called the Erie Back to Work Project. It'll continue until 3 o'clock this afternoon, happen at the Booker T. Washington Center on Holland Street in Erie. Some members of the African American Concerned Clergy Group are helping to host this one. They call the job fair an important step towards our area's recovery from the pandemic. Employers from around the region have information on job opportunities for those looking for work or potentially for folks looking to make a career change. All right, David, plenty of sunshine for the first full fall weekend of the season, trying to keep it going into this new week.
Yeah, we've got more of that sunshine, just temperatures going up a little bit more. Right now, we're starting in the lower 60s out there. For areas south of Interstate 90, we've managed to make it to 68 here in Erie. We're dealing with scattered clouds out there, but you can see it's mainly blue sky from our Oliver's rooftop cam as we're checking out over Presque Isle Bay. 68 degrees. You'll notice that southerly breeze. We certainly have enough of a breeze for today. Showers much farther to our north. We had a couple around, but they really dried up, and now the entire area is expecting dry conditions. Just some scattered clouds moving on through on visible satellite. And you can see Futurecast for us today. Looking good. Temperatures maybe close to that 80-degree mark for the lakeshore. A little bit of added cloud cover later in the day, but still no rain on the overnight, though. A front comes on through, and we are looking at a few scattered showers a bit later on in the night. A few could be lingering around 6, 7 o'clock, but much of the day on Tuesday is certainly looking dry. Here's your zone outlook for today as we break down your forecast. Temperatures into the middle and upper 70s with a partly cloudy sky, and we'll be into the lower and middle 70s today in Crawford County, feeling pretty good during the afternoon, and that warm up takes us into the 70s out there in Warren County. We have some nice fall-like weather in that extended outlook that I'll discuss coming up in just a moment.
First, though, Broadway honored its best last night. It was the 74th annual Tony Awards. Kicked it off in style with Leslie Odom Jr. starting the proceedings with a number that kind of served as a tribute to all of Broadway. It's certainly been a rough pandemic for those Broadway theaters. And some of the big winners from last night's Tony Awards. Honors went to A Soldier's Play. That was the Best Play Revival winner. The Inheritance won for Best New Play. Best Musical went to Moulin Rouge. That play also won 10 awards overall. Speaking of big winners, an Ohio Pumpkin Festival kicked off with a state record being broken by a giant pumpkin. Jeff Teal of Dillonville, Ohio, took the top spot. The 57th annual Barnesville Pumpkin Festival's King Pumpkin Way Off. And take a look at these ginormous pumpkins. When this massive gourd tipped the scales, it was 2,195 pounds. Actually beat out the second place finisher by more than 100 pounds. Teal's pumpkin took the state record from a couple named Todd and Donna Skinner. Their pumpkin weighed in at 2,150 pounds at the same festival back in 2017. Earlier on, we were kind of wondering what you do with a 2,100 or so pound pumpkin once it's weighed in and won the festival.
A lot of pumpkin pie.
Yeah, a
That's
whole
for sure.
lot. Pumpkin seeds.
Yeah, the
pumpkin
seeds, you could bake the seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything pumpkin, you got a lot of it with a pumpkin that big. I just wonder how people decide to all of a sudden, keep the thing growing.
Yeah.
I guess you get to a point where you're like, okay, let's go. Let's see how far this thing will continue to expand. Exactly. 78 degrees for today. That's the warmest in the extended outlook. Temperatures coming down a little bit more, especially by the end of the week. Cool touch in the air, especially during the morning. We're going to have some chilly mornings, mild afternoons, and fairly sunny overall. Not expecting any rain as we turn our attention to the first day of October, which is this Friday. Maybe able to reach 70 degrees once again over the weekend. Pretty seasonable stuff in store for the area.
All right, thank you, David. Thank you for jumping on Facebook Live for this check of some of the stores we're keeping our eyes on. We do have 30 minutes of news headed your way. That's at noon on WSCE, and we'll see you back here first thing tomorrow morning for Erie News Now Sunrise.